I know the Ironheart has finished a few weeks ago, but I still want to talk about it, and I want you guys to join me in this conversation and just dive a little bit more into the show because I think there's a lot of interesting things to figure out there. Before we keep going, just don't forget to subscribe and to like the video and to comment as well your thoughts about the show. So the first thing I want to talk about is that Ironheart suffered a lot of backlashes. We all know that. We saw this happening even before the episodes were released on Disney Plus. We saw the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing going on, and I think it's very important to understand this whole situation because it reflects a lot of what Ironheart explores and what it represents, because we're talking about legacy. So obviously Riri is replacing kind of Tony Stark, and a lot of people got upset about it. Don't understand why, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is that the show has a really great quality and I think is very enjoyable. I think that what people didn't get is that Ironheart is not about Riri taking Tony's mantle. It's not about legacy in a straightforward meaning. It's more about someone that knows how to build the suit and decide to do it. And I think that that is explored a lot in the show. Riri makes clear that Tony for her is not an inspiration. He's not her mentor. He's just a resource for her. It's just because he can build the suit, so can she, and she does that. She decides to do it, and she says a lot of times in the show, I built it because I could. And I think that that reflects a lot of who she is. And there's a lot to unpack on this. I think that the first thing is that it says a lot about Riri's personality as a character. I think that the show explores a lot of who she is, her ego, and her being a genius, and her trusting her own intelligence. But we understand better as the show goes on why is that. Like, we know that there's a lot of grieving there. Riri clearly doesn't build her suit because she wants to be a superhero. She builds the suit because she wants to protect people, is a response to a violence. And I think that that's very interesting in the show. I think that that's very good because it gives her a lot of complexity and a lot of depth that we don't see very often, mainly in MCU shows. I think it's very, very clever that they made this decision. I know that a lot of people didn't like the fact that she says that Tony Stark wouldn't be Iron Man if he was not a billionaire. But I think that again it communicates a lot to this point of like really understanding that if Tony was not a white male man, he will not be who he is, which is true. We cannot deny that. His money made him, not disregarding his story and his legacy. Obviously, I think that Tony has a very good arc across the whole MCU until Endgame. You can see the character growing from movie to movie, and I think that that's very interesting because it had time to build that. And really, we just seeing her for the second time, really. We saw her a little bit in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and now she has her own show. And that's just the start of her journey. And I think it's really beautiful what they do with the show. Mainly with the other thing that I think is really good as well. The second point is her situation with her AI, Natalie. Her creating Natalie as an accident, being her friend, basically, is just like her friend embodied in the AI, because the AI just absorbs her all emotions and memories and builds that for her. It's a very interesting play because we can see grief being embodied and being externalized, and it's really good to see how they use the tool to explore even more who Riri is. Like, she struggles a lot with the AI. There's a lot of situations that you can see that she is navigating through her own grief and through her own pain. Riri is the most probably the most human character that we've seen in the MCU so far. And that's why probably a lot of people didn't like the show, because she's not trying to be a hero and she makes a lot of mistakes. She makes a lot of bad decisions, from her cheating on the university and being kicked out from the MIT to the point that she joins the Hood's gang. It's just one bad decision after the other, and the consequences are massive. We see at the end of the show, I'm not going to give any spoilers here, but we see at the end of the show like how much those consequences weight on her and how much she's gonna pay for that. And again, that's just the beginning. There's a lot of commentaries on the show that I really enjoy. I think that the producers of the show, Ryan Coogler, is the guy. He's there, and we really like what he do. I think that they know how to tell a story. I think that they know how to build a character, and they do so brilliantly with Riri. They do in a way that we actually can engage with the character. We can see ourselves with the character. Ironheart is a big show that just puts a mirror in front of us for us to see ourselves as humans, as flawed and as imperfect, and is very challenging. And it's interesting because that's targeted for teenagers. That's targeted for young kids that are watching superhero content. It's not really for adults, but there's a lot of philosophical insights there, which I think it enriches the show so much, and I think is absolutely great. The show is not perfect, the show is not amazing, but it has so many good things that they've done and that could be explored in the future, and I think that is a good watch. And I think that there's so many seeds there that it got me so excited to the future. I know that a lot of people are talking about what is going to happen. A lot of the hints that they gave, Marvel Studios is not even thinking about it anymore. It's kind of like things that are just on the freezer. They're not being explored. But it would be nice if Marvel saw this success as an opportunity to revisit all those projects and maybe explore them as well. Overall, it's a very good show. I think that the last 3 episodes loses the pace a little bit. I think that it gets a little bit slow in a way. But I think that that's part of the narrative. I think it's very grounded. That's why it happens. It's a very grounded show, and it plays really well in its benefit, and I would definitely recommend to people. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. I think it's a very fun experience. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's worth everyone going and watch it. So don't miss it.